All right, so this will be the first session with Henrietta. You can watch my equipment video to see my setup and everything if that interests you before. I will preface this by saying, again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a trainer. I'm not sure what I'm doing at this point. The beginning stage is probably what I find to be the ugliest. This is me moving the Pivio around because I couldn't decide where I kind of wanted it. I ended up moving it in the corner because I wanted her to have access to the hay. I didn't want to block the hay. Anyway, this is kind of ugly in the sense of it's just not pretty. It's nothing crazy. It's really boring, but it is just the ugly first stages. This is definitely the hardest stuff that I did because I did not know what I was doing. There's actually a few things that I'm thinking. So one, Kat Zimmerman is a Mustang trainer and she's done amazing things. I love her horse stitch. She's done absolutely amazing things. One of the things that she does is she approaches the horse as if she's petting it. As you can see, I'm lifting my arm and kind of waving it because that's the motion that you make to touch the horse. And I liked this idea because you are not going to scare the horse in the sense of you're going to make a motion. So if you're making that motion the whole time, then the motion is not going to be scary in itself. The second thought I have is that I'm, quote, releasing the pressure. So this isn't a very positive reinforcement approach because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm coming into the bubble, coming out, coming in, coming out, because I want to make sure she understands I'm not going to sit there and like make you cower in fear. I'm going to move away from you because you are not upset. You seem okay, so I'm going to reward that by releasing the pressure. The other thing is that my sister said this, and I'm not 100% sure this is true. I liked the idea, so I just did it, that predators don't turn their back. So I was like, well, I'll make sure to turn my back because I'm not a predator, right? I want her to be like, you're not a predator. So as you can see, I'm just waving my hand as if I'm going to be petting her. She's leaned away. There's a little bit of flinch there. And I should have kind of probably released pressure when she flinched. But I was like, okay, she moved. So I went ahead and just released. And I walk a good distance away because I want an approach, but I also want her to have like a big bubble. So she's obviously done with that corner of grass. And now I have the hay over on the shelter. And at this point, she's like, okay, I want that. But as you can see, she takes a fairly wide circle around me, but at the same time not. So she's not completely uncomfortable with me in the sense of like she's all the way at the other side of the pen. She's running away. She's kind of just more ignoring me, which completely fine. Totally understand. She's got things on her mind. She's busy with hay. So this is kind of where I decide kind of not a different method, but a different approach, like literal approach. So Mustang Maddie, who I really liked her Human Horse Academy, I took the beginning one. She does have a Mustang one, but I never took that one actually, which I probably should have. But one of the things she does at the beginning is she does this approach where you walk towards the horse, and when the horse acknowledges you, that's when you turn and walk away. So it is a pressure release situation. She's very positive reinforcement focused, but she does have some pressure release. The problem is you can kind of see it. Henry doesn't engage. Like I know I'm doing this wrong, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing because in Mustang Maddie's video, it is really like clear. Like the horse looks at her, she backs up. The horse looks, and then like Maddie's able to get closer. And like, I couldn't figure out how she did it so easily, which again, it's a different situation. She's a professional. I don't know what's going on with that horse in particular and everything like that. So I'm kind of like, I really wanted to try her method, but it's not working. Do I just not have the patience? Probably. This whole process made me realize I'm pretty impatient. Like I'm already grabbing hay, saying like, look, if you do something with me, you'll get rewarded. This isn't a big reward because she's eating hay. Now, she's eating hay from a slow feeder, so my loose hay is more of a reward because it's not as difficult to get to. But it's still not enticing enough because I'm holding it. And that's really scary, right? Like I am pressuring her here. I'm in her bubble. I'm actually going to speed up the next kind of couple moments because it's really boring. Again, it's the same thing where I'm approaching, being in her bubble, either releasing pressure or not releasing pressure like that, where I'm not releasing it. So that was good. So she like took some hay, but she's like, I don't know, I'm uncomfortable, so I'm going to leave the situation. Again, it's really interesting because she keeps putting her back to me in the sense of like, it's almost like she doesn't care at all. Okay, so here we go. So kind of following her around, pressuring her. I'm not releasing the pressure like I should have. I'm still in her bubble. That is me messing with the hay net. I can't remember what I was doing, but I'm giving her more because she doesn't like the slow feeder very much. I think gets really frustrated with it easily. It's kind of nice because I still like to piddle around her where she kind of gets used to me doing stuff. Again, me following her around, kind of giving her wide berth and trying to approach, and engage with her, and then releasing the pressure. So again, this is not pretty. I'm doing it not very well. I'm kind of back and forth with my methodology. I'm not really consistent with releasing pressure and stuff like that. But this is why I really recommend you filming yourself, because you can see this kind of happen. Here she comes up to the pivio. I want you to look at her mane. It's so knotted. She's also filthy, obviously. I mean, she's a wild horse, but she also smelled so bad. Like, she smelled like a really bad petting zoo. It was really hard because I just wanted to untangle her mane and not make her smell like that, and I couldn't. So here I'm like, she stopped and looked at me. So does she want to engage? Like, I can engage with her. I've got the hay. It's really enticing. And she says no. She clearly says no, and I'm like, okay, interesting. She has a right to say no, but I'm not sure what my next move. And she looks at me, so I'm like, okay, I should have released pressure. Like, that's really, like, looking at this, it's like, she told me no, she's looking at me, and I'm not backing up. Like, that's so rude of me. That's so mean, where I'm just like, you're saying no to me, and I'm completely ignoring it. And, like, there's one thing to say, like, getting used to me being in the bubble, but, like, not at this stage. She's still looking at me. I'm thinking she's trying to engage. She's looking at me because she's mad that I'm not listening to her very clear no. And here's the thing. I'm okay with reading horses. I am. Like, I've had experience with various horses, and, like, I can read my domestic, obviously, very well, but in this moment, I really realized that when you're next to the horse, I have a hard time, like, reading. But this is about me in general, because I have a hard time, like, seeing the real big picture when I'm in the picture. So, like, looking at all the pieces and parts of the horse, like, when I'm up in their space is a little difficult for me. Learned that about myself, so that was interesting. Okay, I'm going to speed up the last portion of this because you can kind of see, you get the general picture. I'm not doing well. I don't know what I'm doing. She's telling me no. I'm trying to figure out what my methodology is, and I'm really inconsistent. I'm pressuring her, and then I'll release, but I'm not consistent with that, right? Like, I should have just kept up with it if I wanted to do that. And obviously at this point, I'm like, okay, release the pressure because she's unhappy. But this is what I say when, like, it's an ugly stage where, like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not pretty. She's not doing what I thought she would do, which is silly to say, like, in hindsight, because it's a wild horse. But, like, you kind of expect them to do certain things. The other thing is that I don't want to trap her. I don't want her to feel physically trapped where I've pressured her up against a corral panel and then I just come at her slowly, nicely, with hay, all this kind of stuff, but, like, she can't move. I personally did not want that. I've seen a lot of videos, and that seems to be a training method that people do, and they really like that, and it works for them. It's just not something I was really interested in doing, so I wanted her to kind of come to me. This is me circling her because I was like, oh, maybe I'll just, like, circle in, and that will be the bubble situation. Don't follow what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing. Look at professionals. Follow professional. Anyway, that is our first session. It's really boring. It's really ugly. And thank you for watching.